Jonathan and his family moved to a secluded, ancient house situated on a hill surrounded by dense forests. From a distance, the house looked majestic and inviting, but as they approached its walls, an inexplicable sense of unease gripped the hearts of the new occupants. Though it took a considerable effort to renovate and restore the house, Jonathan and his family found satisfaction in the process. They believed it would be a fresh start for them, and their future in this place would be bright. However, on the first night, a gloomy atmosphere enveloped the house, as if the ancient walls held dark secrets. The first inexplicable events began to occur in the early days of their stay. Lights flickered as if someone was playing with the switches, paintings moved on their own, and ghostly footsteps echoed in the distant corridors as if someone was walking on the upper floor. Jonathan and his family tried to find rational explanations for these strange occurrences, attributing them to the house's age and its outdated electrical wiring. Yet, their confidence wavered when Jonathan started having visions at night, apparitions surrounded by dim light. Jonathan decided that, for the sake of his family's peace of mind, he needed to uncover the truth about the house's past. He delved into archives, spoke to the locals, and consulted historians. That is when he learned about the tragic history of the previous occupants of the house. Many years ago, the family who lived there before them had experienced a series of mysterious deaths. Each member of the family perished in horrifying circumstances, and their souls were left restless. It was said that the house carried a curse, and those who inhabited it became targets of the vengeful spirits from the dark world. Jonathan decided it was time to confront the ominous forces that plagued his home. He began performing rituals of purification and protection, calling upon the forces of light to drive away the dark shadows. However, as he resisted, the spirits seemed to grow more aggressive, intensifying their desire to claim the new occupants of the hill for their sinister world. Jonathan realized he needed help. He sought assistance from experts in paranormal phenomena and spiritual cleansing. They warned him about the power of the evil lurking in the house and advised him to carefully plan his actions. The night when Jonathan decided to perform the final ritual became the most terrifying night of his life. Ghostly figures and shadows filled every corner of the house. They constricted the space, blotting out the light, suffusing everything with cold and horror. Jonathan stood amidst this grim world, his heart pounding in his chest. He chanted incantations, entreating the forces of light to protect his family. But in response to his calls, it seemed the malevolent forces only grew stronger. Just when Jonathan was on the verge of despair, something changed. A faint light appeared in the distance, and a woman's voice echoed from the depths of the house. The voice belonged to the spirit of the woman from the previous family, who suffered in the dark corners of the house. She revealed to Jonathan the truth about what happened to her family. They had fallen victim to a powerful cult that practiced dark rituals and curses. Their home had become a theater of horror, and the souls of the deceased were condemned to wander the gloomy place. Armed with the amulet the spirit gave him, Jonathan ventured into the depths of the house, to the place where the cultists conducted their sinister rituals. He performed an ancient ritual of liberation and managed to free the souls of the deceased from the clutches of the curse. The amulet proved invaluable, and the dark forces finally left the house. Light returned to the windows, shadows disappeared, and fear was replaced by silence. The house, which once seemed like a dwelling of evil, became a beautiful and antique mansion. Deep in the shadows of a dense forest stood a house amidst abandoned trails. Every resident of the small town had heard some terrifying legend about it, and only the bravest dared to approach it. The Martinov family was timid and kept to themselves, but the money they won in the lottery made them take a risk and buy the house at an auction. Almost immediately after moving in, they felt something strange. Soon, the sounds of children's laughter and knocking on the walls echoed through the house, disturbing their peace. Frightened and bewildered, the Martins decided to unravel this mysterious enigma. They turned to the locals to learn the history of the house. It turned out to be a former children's shelter. Many years ago, all the shelter's occupants disappeared without a trace, leading to the closure of the institution. It was believed that the children ran away or were abducted, and the truth was never discovered. The Martins began to explore the house and soon encountered the spirits of the children. Little ghostly figures ran through the rooms, hiding in the shadows, emitting their eerie sounds. However, they weren't aggressive. Instead, they seemed lost and frightened. The family decided to help these souls. They delved into archives and libraries to uncover the truth about their disappearance. They spoke to the locals who remembered the past events and even found old staff members from the shelter. Gradually, the horrifying truth was revealed. The shelter was run by a cruel and heartless director who mistreated the children, punishing them severely for even the smallest mistakes and exploiting their labor for unlawful purposes. But the children did not remain defenseless. They conspired and planned their daring escape. Each child diligently prepared their part of the plan, and they all dreamed of one thing: to escape from this nightmarish place. Yet, their boldness only angered the director even more, and he devised a gruesome and treacherous revenge. One day, as the children attempted their daring plan, the director locked them in the basement. He planned to end them and rid himself of the witnesses to his crimes. However, something went awry, and the basement became the place of their last breath. Now, the souls of these unfortunate children wandered through the abandoned house, seeking vengeance for their untimely death. They couldn't leave this place and were condemned to eternal wandering. Their suffering, trapped in time, attracted the Martins, who unknowingly interrupted their torment. Once the Martins uncovered the truth, the spirits of the children began to communicate with them. They used knocks, laughter, and even playful pranks to draw attention to their fate. The Martins were unsettled, but they didn't want to inflict further pain on these innocent souls. They resolved to help the children. With the support of their close-knit community and paranormal experts, they devised a plan to free the departed children from this cursed place. One fateful night, they gathered in the house to decipher the mystery and save the children. They performed a ritual to attract the spirits and grant them forgiveness and liberation. The hearts of the Martins were filled with sympathy and compassion for these innocent children, and they prayed for their peace. From that night, the house became less terrifying. The sounds of knocking and children as laughter grew less menacing, and the spirits appeared less frequently. It seemed that they were gradually breaking free from the shackles of the past and embarking on their journey to the afterlife, where peace and tranquility awaited them. The Martinov family also found their redemption. They realized that they had helped these young souls and unraveled the horrifying secrets of the past. Instead of the fear and horror that engulfed them upon moving in, they now felt relief and gratitude for the opportunity to do something so significant and noble. And so, the chilling tale of the house with forgotten children came to an end. The local residents began to approach this house with respect and compassion. It became a part of the legend, but now it was infused not only with fear but also with hope for redemption and salvation for those forever locked in this dark story. The young family, Emily and David, along with their little daughter Sophie, happily moved into their new home. This spacious and beautiful mansion, built back in the 19th century, seemed like the perfect place to start a new chapter in their lives. From the very beginning, Sophie was fascinated by the antique items that were found in the house, but what she liked the most were the strange dolls scattered throughout the different rooms. One day, Sophie noticed one particularly mysterious doll in the corner of her bedroom. This doll was old-fashioned, with dark eyes and exquisitely embroidered attire. Unexpectedly for her parents, Sophie started spending a lot of time with this doll, whom she named Margarita. She talked to her, played with her, and, according to her, Margarita became her best friend. At first, Emily and David were delighted to see how attached Sophie had become to the doll. However, they soon noticed strange changes in their daughter's behavior. She became withdrawn and gloomy, refusing to interact with other children and even with her parents. Every time they tried to cheer her up or find out the reasons for her sadness, Sophie only said that she had Margarita, and she was always there with her. The parents' worry continued to grow. They started researching the history of the house and discovered its dark secrets. According to local legends, the house was known for its enigmatic owners who were involved in occultism and black magic. Some said that a curse lay upon the house, and everyone who lived in it was under its influence. Frightening events in the house prompted Emily and David to seek help from an occult expert, Drive Richards. Their meeting with him was mysterious as he assured them that the curse on the house was real and Margarita was no ordinary doll. He warned that Sophie was in danger, and the curse was awakening. Drive Richards began conducting complex rituals to uncover the source of the curse and to save the little girl. During these rituals, terrifying facts came to light. In the past, the house was involved in sacrificial practices, and innocent souls were bound to the dolls to serve the dark forces. As the realms of reality and darkness collided, the house was filled with eerie sounds, and the dolls came to life. The curse began to spread throughout the neighborhood. In this battle between the forces of light and darkness, the parents and Drive, Richards tried to break the curse and free their daughter. Drive, Richards realized that the only way to break the curse was through sacrifice. He was willing to offer himself as a sacrifice to save Sophie. The parents desperately tried to stop him, but he was convinced that it was the only way to stop the evil. However, before Drive, Richards could offer himself as a sacrifice, Sophie, breaking free from her internal fears and doubts, woke up to reality. She realized that Margarita was just an illusion, and she was surrounded by loving parents. At that moment, the darkness that had enveloped the house disappeared. Emily and David understood that true love and family bonds could withstand even the darkest forces. The house was cleansed from the curse, and they decided to sell all the dolls, leaving behind the memories of the dark times.